Begin with a collaboration between the Tampa Housing Authority and the Tampa Bay History Center. The plan will help Tampa's Black History Museum reach a milestone generations in the making. The first museum in the city devoted to Black history stands in the Encore neighborhood, on land once known as the Scrub, Tampa's oldest Black neighborhood settled by freed men and women just after the Civil War. Its main street, Central Avenue, became the beating heart of Black business, music, and culture, Tampa's very own Harlem of the South. Much of that neighborhood was later erased, but the museum's home endured. It sits inside a historic red brick building, the former St. James Episcopal Church, one of just a handful of structures left standing from the Scrub. For a couple of years now, the museum has opened its doors for community talks, book clubs, and walking tours. But there's one thing it has never had, a permanent place to tell its story. Well, that's about to change. For the first time, the museum will have a permanent exhibition gallery, a lasting home for the artifacts, the photographs, and the voices of Tampa's Black community. It's set to be installed in time for June of 2027. And now the people behind the museum are turning to the community, asking neighbors to help decide what stories these walls will finally hold. We are very excited to have Neville joining us, the person behind everything that's going to be going into there, a lot of pressure. Neville, tell us about your vision for that space.
Well, the vision was to kind of create something that's built for the entire community. Not just one we're focusing on, but those that may be interested in it. Some of those guiding principles are the organization, the building, the creativity, and the reality of what helped the community get through all the ups and downs in Tampa Bay area.
So when you look at creating that space with artifacts and multimedia components, how difficult is it, because your target audience, you're really focused on bringing in the next generation?
Yes, we wanted to trend a little bit younger as far as the push, so they can kind of keep the museum alive as they grow and then bring their children. It's an interesting dynamic. Ultimately, it boils down to creating an experience that's memorable, both from a emotional standpoint, but also a visual representation standpoint. Like, if it doesn't look great, then we won't come. But we want to have some meaning and some depth to the story, right? And it's a story about the people, African American, Afro-Latino, and Afro-Caribbean in this particular museum. So we wanted to make sure that those stories live on and they touch kind of a 4D experience, if you will, and leave an impact and a mark.
You have said that you would like to get muralists, artists from the community to come and be a part of it. It's such an interesting space, right? You have this beautiful church, and you're trying to apply their talent to the windows. Tell our viewers about that, how the murals will be created for the windows. Right,
so we have 7 eras that we're talking about throughout the museum as far as timeline goes, and we want those 7 eras to be represented on the exterior of the building. So obviously it's a historical building, but we wanted to add a little bit of life to it and versatility, and tell a story. So it kind of pulls you into the museum itself. The museum is only about 2,000 square feet, so it's a small but mighty museum. But yeah, the local art that's pulling in the community, giving them a sense of ownership to the project, and as a creative myself, to give us a little creative spin on what that particular era may mean to them. So muralists would come in and they would have a specific era that they would select, and then they would make their magic on the windows? Yes, and that process would probably be, we'll say, hey, create something for the civil rights era that what means to you, and we'll probably have a good amount of submittals, right? And so we determine which one we'll select from that that group. And then apply it and digitize it and put it up there. We might even rotate that out every other year. So that way it's not just something that'll last for 100 years, but hey, there's new energy, new voices, new vision for that particular same zone.
So one of the things that I love about this is that you've called the community, the Tampa Bay History Center has made a call to action in the community asking for families to look at their family heirlooms, maybe photos and keepsakes, and submit them for consideration in the exhibition. Sherelle and I were talking about different things that might be really cool to include. Do you want to share with him?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, congratulations, and I think it's an amazing concept, just thinking through and being strategic about what you're doing. But because I am in the beauty industry, as I think about all things African American, and particularly in the beauty space, I cannot think enough about the vintage hot comb. Like that is one that's a staple for Black women, just in the African American community. And so if there was one that could be included, that would be a great one.
If you got one, send it on down.
All right.
And Christina, what goes through your mind when he's talking about all of these different elements and bringing in the younger generation? What has been your experience at the library, at the Poynter Library on campus of USF St. Pete?
Definitely. The idea of bringing in the younger generation, it really resonates with us. Of course, like we're serving mostly college students, but also that idea that what museums do kind of bring people in. The same with libraries. We want to create community spaces. And, you know, especially our college students are suffering ever increasing loneliness and things like that. So having these touch points in community spaces, whether it's museums, whether it's libraries, whether it's other places where we can gather, I think these are really important. So again, congratulations.
Oh,